Hey, my name is Carol Tshabala. I'm an award-winning sportscaster, really very passionate about sports and extremely excited because it is Women's Month. I love the fact that Bright Rock has come up with this ingenious plan to celebrate Women's Month by, of course, creating a series of video interviews honoring and celebrating female South African sporting icons. So I'm really, really excited about this. We're going to kick it off by celebrating an individual who has really stood out from the rest of her peers, chosen a path that many would not have expected her to choose. She is without a doubt a sporting icon. We celebrate her here in South Africa. She is a Springbok women's rugby sevens player, and that is none other than Christeléne Steinhöbel. Christeléne, happy Women's Month. So good to have you as a part of this fantastic series. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. Yeah, I'm stoked to be a part of this. And I think all women, all things women go, it's go time. It's about women and celebrating what we can and can't see, I think.
No, it certainly is, Christeléne. And, when you look at your career, what it is that you do as well, obviously, what a big icon you are, what a role model you are. A lot of individuals look at some of the trials and tribulations that you've been through and where you are now, representing your country, and just your life journey in itself is just such an inspiration, isn't it?
Yeah, I think every athlete, every human being has a story, and some people use it to elevate themselves or to grow. And for me, it's been a journey on and off the field, so sport and just life. And you kind of just have to remind yourself, what am I learning from this experience, even though it's a tough one.
Tell us a little bit about it. As a female sports broadcaster, I oftentimes get the question, why sport? Why did you choose this career path? And I'm sure that this is a question you get as well. Why rugby, and where did it all begin?
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to lie, it totally happened by mistake. So I grew up in England. We moved from South Africa to England when I was 12, and I got a scholarship for cricket at university, at Loughborough University. And I had some rugby friends. And one day they just needed a player and they just roped me in. Next thing I knew, I had white shorts on and rugby boots, and off I go. And I was just running across the field, not forward, just across. And I don't know, that's the bug kind of bit there. And then when I moved back to South Africa in 2015, I kind of decided I'm going to carry on with the rugby because I just find it quite more exhilarating.
Was it the same for you? Because like you say, you got into it almost by mistake. It was the same for me. I really fell into it, but I didn't have female sports broadcasting icons, to look up to and say, oh my word, she can do it. This is what I want to do. Was it the same for you? I mean, do you have an icon or someone that you looked up to and said, oh, wow, they're a really great rugby player or a really great cricketer. I would love to do that one day.
For me, I would say there were a few cricket women that were inspirational, but I would have to stick to my mum was a sports person. She was a very good athlete in school. She did 10 Comrades marathons and she did a London marathon. And I basically got my inspiration from her and life's trials and tribulations that was thrown at her and us. There was just so much commitment. There was a never give up, a commitment no matter what you want to achieve. That woman's perseverance and resilience was incredible. So for me, it was probably my mum, as she was an athlete as well.
As women, we go through so many different changes through the course of our lives and our careers. Tell us about the importance of really remaining focused and staying the distance despite so many different changes. I mean, you spoke about, growing up in England or moving to England, spending some time there, coming back to South Africa, just having to adjust to all of these different changes. Tell us about some of those changes.
There's a couple of things that are critical, and it's awareness, it's commitment, and it's a purpose for yourself, for your team, and you need to be aware of your emotions, your actions, and your responses. And that is almost the gold dust to your success. And I think that is not just as an athlete, but as an organization as well. So I think that's just a huge difference. Where I came from England, I was like, yo, now I'm so confused, because why is there no support? Why are people not willing to listen to women?
So this is interesting, because you're a very driven individual and very, very career focused as well. Clearly, this was something that was so important when you were here in South Africa, and you realized there wasn't as much support. It was now up to you and your small circle of support, to help drive you, to help keep you motivated, to help keep you focused.
I was 25 when I moved back to South Africa, and you kind of want to get into a system when you're 19, 20. So my career hasn't been long, and I would have liked it to be longer. So we'll see what happens with the sevens. But I very quickly realized that playing is not enough. So to tip the scales in our favor, we need to get women to step out of the playing jersey when they retire, and we need to get them to get into those positions. Playing is not enough, because we can play, we can qualify for the Olympics and things, but we don't get sent. So playing is not enough. We need to really go like, what do I need to educate myself. I need to either get a mentor. What do I want to be? I need clarity. Do I want to be a board member? Do I want to go into the provincial stuff? Do I want to be a coach? How do I get a coaching certificate? How do I get a refereeing certificate? So, I realized that my role is not to play, but to do all of those things and figure out where can I fit into, really make a difference and really step into or be part of a transformation for women's rugby in South Africa. And that's kind of where I'm at now.
When I started out in this career 20 years ago, a lot of people said it was the same situation as what you say when you talk about female sporting athletes, where there's just such a huge gap in terms of support and just a history of female sporting athletes getting to a certain level as opposed to the male. Same thing as a sport broadcaster. And I often said, it was up to me to be 10 times more prepared and 10 times more ready than my male counterparts, my male colleagues, in order to make an impression and to now, 20 years later, still be in this particular industry and to reach the highs that I have. Was it the same for you in terms of your training regimes, for example? Did you train that much harder?
On the playing part of it, I almost want to say it's not in South Africa now. This is very different to England. It's not hard to get into our South African seven system, but it's very hard to stay there. Because we don't have the development foundation, we're kind of clutching at straws for people. We're like, oh, you come in. We're almost like Oprah Winfrey, like, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a shot, And it's amazing because there's talent, but very few people actually get to stay there because we have that lack of awareness and like a lack of awareness of yourself. Like, what does commitment mean, and what does that look like on a daily basis?
Yeah, so important as an athlete to remain focused and to stay motivated mentally. And we've been having a lot of these conversations, especially now. They've been heightened since, COVID times, about mental health and mental awareness and how important it is to be so strong mentally. What are some of your tips about staying motivated mentally?
Oh, so many. Now you've hit my other passion is I'm a mental high performance mental coach as well, and I could geek out on you for hours. But for me, the mental side is you have to tune into yourself. Like, if we look at sports specifically, what is pressure to you? And how do you handle it? So if you don't understand how you react or respond, there's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is an instant, like if someone says, I don't like your hair, and you're like, I don't like your face. It's a reaction. Whereas a response is, you're kind of analyzing it quickly. And the better you get at responding, the quicker that response happens. So when you take it into a sport context, you go into the field, all of a sudden the game changes not in your favor, and you have to deal with this pressure now. Maybe you're a wing or a playmaker. It's on you to make a play. How do you absorb it, or do you just go quiet? So absorb meaning, does it actually get you to focus more, or does it shut you down? But if you don't know how you respond to pressure, how are you actually going to, play rugby? How are you going to do any sport?
It's interesting. You've spoken to us about another career path, something else that you do, high performance mindset coach. So you've got an alternative job and essentially you're self-employed, yes?
Yes.
Tell us about the decision to do this, to add this to your resume as well.
I love learning, which at school I never did. I hated learning. But when I got older, I realized I like to learn the things I'm interested in. So I wasn't interested in geography and history and math. But I'm very interested I'm also doing my master's in performance analysis, which is a lot of data and patterns and statistics. But the mindset thing came about when we actually hit lockdown last year, end of March, and you kind of you don't have any physical activity to burn off any energy or anxiety or whatever. And you just sat with your thoughts. And I got to a point where I kind of questioned. I was like, I don't know if my passion is my purpose. And it shocked me when I said it out loud. I've wanting to play rugby for my whole life, or sport, like for my country, and it happened. And then I had this question. I was like, something is not right. And I stumbled upon this amazing woman in Australia who was my personal development coach. And we worked on a lot of things, and it became clear to me that, and she actually asked me one day, she was like, have I ever thought about doing what she does? And I was like, no, I don't know if I want to coach rugby yet. And she was like, that's not what I mean. And she kind of spoke to me and mentored me to, tap into the whole mental side of people. And, it was very eye-opening and soul-opening, actually. And it's kind of changed me as a human being, which is amazing. But it also then opens up life.
Now, you're talking about all of these different change moments in your life. And of course, as you said, COVID-19 and last year was a big one that made you really sit down and think about your life purpose and, personally what it is in your life that you want to pursue or would like to change. And you questioned a lot of things. The importance of just being calm, when you're going through these tumultuous times and possible changes in your life. How key and important is that?
Oh, it's monumental. It's so big. And what I've learned is that every so often, it's almost every 9 or 10 years, you outgrow your values as a person. And I didn't know this. And it's so interesting because it was about, my time to start questioning, am I in the right environment? Am I enjoying it? And, I was wondering why this was happening. And this lady just made it very clear that this is kind of what happens, but how to make space for that shift, and then being clear on where do you want to go, like how to handle change. Like if any of my teammates and my coaches will watch this, they are definitely going to laugh because I'm a control freak and I'm very a perfectionist. So, it was hard for me to kind of tap into all these things and go, well, it's fine if you don't want to play anymore, or it's fine if you're not enjoying it as much as you thought you would when you were 19. But what else can you do? And just that adaptation from, being fine, but also finding out what's next and being okay with that. And for me, hopefully stepping into a female leadership role or creating female leadership programs or anything that I can add value to for women in South Africa, especially sevens. I would love to branch out into all sports for women and set up programs or systems where women are supported and they're educated and they're just building and flourishing on and off the field. That would be amazing for me to leave a legacy like that.
You've had so many fantastic moments in your career. What would you say was one of your proudest moments in your career?
Ooh, I think for everyone, the first time you get presented your jersey is very special. Ooh, yeah. So much pride in that emblem, and playing in those stadiums like Hong Kong, Dubai, even Cape Town for us. Playing in front of our home crowd for the first time was very, very special. But I would have to say my first cap and then home crowd, Cape Town.
Oh, Christeléne, you definitely such an icon. You are without a doubt a woman that is changing the game. Keep shining. Bright Rock celebrates you. All of us, we celebrate you. And happy Women's Month.
Thank you very much. And you keep shining your little flame there as well. I'll definitely keep an eye out for you. And I hope to actually meet you one day. It'll be awesome.
Absolutely loved it. Bright Rock is going to continue during Women's Month to celebrate female sporting icons here in South Africa. Women that are definitely changing the game. Till our next one, remember to play the bounce, play the moment, and love change.